I arrived in Burkina Faso at the peak of its dry season. The heat was relentless, the kind that doesn't just press on your skin but seems to follow you, seeping into your bones. Every gust of wind felt like it came straight out of an oven. But despite the harsh sun and the chaos of the streets, Ouagadougou held a kind of poetry, a rhythm that pulsed just beneath the surface. The capital hummed with tension and hope, the kind of hope that clings to people after decades of struggle, the kind of tension that lives where political change is raw and unfinished. It was 2025, and Burkina Faso was still writing its revolution. Headlines in the West had called it a coup. Here they called it a reset, a reclamation. I was in the city for a 6-week research fellowship, documenting youth-driven political transformations across the Sahel. My colleagues had joked I was on a pilgrimage to meet the Che Guevara of West Africa. I laughed it off. Meeting Captain Ibrahim Traoré, President Traoré, was not on my itinerary. People like him don't just wander into your schedule. They live on podiums, behind armored doors, surrounded by ministers and PR handlers. But fate, as it turned out, had a different plan. My 5th morning in Ouagadougou began like the others, waking up to the sound of roosters and motorbikes, breakfasting on sweet fried dough and thick Nescafe, scribbling notes in my journal while trying to shake the dust off my thoughts. My fixer, Isa, had arranged for us to visit a youth innovation and civic training centre on the outskirts of the city. The centre was modest. 3 buildings arranged in a horseshoe. The walls decorated with murals of Sankara, African queens, and phrases like Notre avenir, Notre combat. Our guide, a young woman named Safi, led us through the main halls. A digital literacy lab, a vocational workshop, a debate room. Teenagers buzzed with excitement, laughter, purpose. There was no air conditioning, but no one complained. These kids, Safi said proudly, aren't just learning trades. They're learning to lead. I spent the next hour interviewing students and mentors. A group of girls demonstrated how they were building portable solar lamps for villages without electricity. One boy told me he had once dreamed of being a footballer, but after joining the centre, he now wanted to run for mayor. Then Isa appeared at my side, eyes wide, jaw slightly slack. "Something's happening," he said under his breath. "Someone important is here." I raised an eyebrow. "Who?" "I think it's him." My heart skipped. "Him?" Isa nodded, lips tight. "Come, quietly." We moved through the hallway, weaving between students and teachers who had begun gathering in small clusters. Whispers floated through the air. And then in the courtyard, I saw him. Captain Ibrahim Traoré. He was taller than I expected, dressed in his standard green fatigues, boots caked with dust, no medals or sashes, just the simple uniform of a soldier. His face was youthful but intense, bearing the weight of a nation far beyond his years. The sun carved shadows across his features, accentuating the calm fire in his eyes. He didn't arrive with sirens or suits, no camera crews, no parade. Just a quiet ripple of reverence followed him, like a current. He moved slowly, stopping often to greet students, speaking in a mix of French and Maure. His presence filled the space, but he didn't demand attention. It came to him naturally, like gravity. I stood frozen. A part of me wanted to disappear into the wall. Another part whispered, "Talk to him, just once." As if hearing my thoughts, he turned in my direction. His gaze met mine, not piercing, not calculating, just curious. "You're not from here," he said, approaching me with the confidence of someone who knew exactly where they stood in the world. "No, Mr. President," I replied, voice shaking slightly. "I'm a researcher, documenting youth movements." He raised an eyebrow. "Interesting. Burkina Faso has no shortage of that." I smiled. "That's what brought me here." He extended his hand. "Walk with me?" We strolled through the courtyard, away from the murmuring crowd. The students went back to their tasks, though many stole glances as we passed. The heat hung between us, but the conversation flowed easily. "I've read about you," I said cautiously. "Your rise to power, the speeches, the symbolism. It's inspiring." He chuckled softly. "Inspiration is dangerous if it's not followed by work and sacrifice." "Did you plan any of this?" I asked. "Becoming president, becoming a symbol." He stopped walking. "No," he said, looking at the sky. "I was a soldier. I believed in duty, but the state had lost its soul. Our people were dying. Our land was bleeding. We were being used. Something had to change. And so, you changed it." He looked at me. "Number, we changed it. The people, the youth. I just carried their voice for a while. They still carry mine." We continued walking. I asked him about sovereignty, foreign policy, the pressure of governance. He spoke in measured tones, not rehearsed, but deliberate. "We are tired of being the raw material for other nations' wealth," he said. "We have gold, cotton, culture, courage. But always someone else profits. That ends now. What do you say to the critics who call you authoritarian?" He paused. "I say they've never seen a mother bury her son, because a drone didn't care where the border was, or a farmer cut off from his fields by terror. We are not chasing power. We are chasing peace. If that threatens someone's interests, then maybe those interests were the problem." I noticed his hands as he spoke. Calloused, steady, not hands of a man who lived in palaces. He gestured toward the young girls wiring solar panels. "That is the real revolution, not me. Not this uniform. Them. They are the future. They are the resistance." I asked what he feared the most. "Losing sight of the people," he said without hesitation. "It's easy to forget them when you sit in meetings all day. I try to come here to places like this, to remember who we're fighting for." He turned to me, his voice lower now. "And I worry the world will only see the headlines. The coup, the uniform, the slogans, not the soul, not the why." "I think that's why I'm here," I said. He nodded, his eyes steady. "Then write the truth. Not just the facts. The truth."